Hello everyone, welcome to another tier list video. Today I thought I'd do a quick tier list, for once, on the Scream franchise. It's only 5 movies, so this video won't be as long as my other tier list I've done before. Yeah, this is a no-brainer because I've never ranked the movies before. I think I've rarely ever talked about them on my channel, which is kind of weird because I'm a pretty big fan of the Scream movies. It's not like my favorite thing ever. Like, as you guys know, I'm more into like Chucky and the Saw franchise and other franchises, but Scream is solid. Like, honestly, like, it is a great franchise. And I'm doing this obviously because last night the new film came out, and I'm not gonna spoil anything about the new movie. The first 4 movies, I will kind of have to spoil stuff, so if you've never seen them, you might not want to watch this video. You can skip to the end if you want to see like my final ranking or whatever. But yeah, the 5th movie, don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything. So go check out my review I did last night if you want. There is a spoiler section at the end, so if you want to hear spoilers. But yeah, let's get into it. And really quickly, I guess, actually, no, let's just get into it. So, only 5 movies, so this video is not going to be long. So, Scream 1 it's obviously S. Like, come on, it's S for Scream. Scream 1's iconic. Like, all these movies, except for the newest one, directed by Wes Craven, who's, horror master, made Nightmare on Elm Street, Hills Have Eyes, all kinds of movies. And Scream 1 is it's the original, so it had nothing to work on. Like, the sequels obviously fall upon the original movie, whereas the first movie was the first movie. And I'm not trying to say this is a negative, but the movies have a formula, you know what I mean? Like, there is a formula, Randy. The first movie was the first one to do it, so by proxy, it's sort of the best one just by that. But no, it really is the best one. Like, it's got the best cast overall, if you ask me. Like, we got Skeet Ulrich, Matthew Lillard, Rose McGowan, Jamie Kennedy. Like, that group of friends was never really replicated in the sequels in terms of everybody being great. Like, for example, in the new movie, there was only 2 characters that stood out to me, in the group of friends. The other movies had great characters too, but the first movie, all the characters were great. And yeah, it's iconic, and the opening scene is incredible. You know what I mean? Again, the first movie, it's just by proxy, it's the best one. But yeah, so I don't really have much else to say about it. It just is number 1. I feel like everybody's gonna say that. So, and of course, in the comments, let me know your ranking. All right, so now Scream 2. Scream 2 is a great sequel. Like, it really is. I think the opening in particular is awesome. I've always loved that opening in the movie theater where they're showing Stab and Jada Pinkett Smith, and her boyfriend. Which is kind of messed up. The only reason they got killed was because their names matched previous names that were killed in the original, murders, which is that always bothered me. I'm like, man, they didn't do anything, I mean, there's tons of innocent people getting killed in these movies, but them in particular, they were just going to see a movie. So yeah, and my favorite thing about Scream 2 overall actually is the Cotton Weary stuff. I thought that stuff was really good. I kind of wish there was more of it in the movie. I mean, it's in there enough, but people like to pick on Scream 2 because of the whole Jerry O'Connell boyfriend thing, which I actually really liked his character. I know there's that scene where he's singing in the cafeteria, which people will always make fun of, but I don't know, I always found it heartwarming, I always loved that storyline. I don't know, I just think it's tragic when he dies at the end. He was actually a good guy, and of course with Cotton Weary, he's actually a good guy. I like, again, how this movie portrayed him. And it keeps you guessing, maybe Cotton's the killer, because who has better motive than him, And then the final reveal at the end is that, Stu's mother, or not Stu's mother, Billy's mother, and, what was the kid's name? Timothy Olyphant, his character, Mickey. They were the 2 killers, and, Mickey was basically just super over the top and crazy, but, Timothy Olyphant's awesome, so I'll excuse it, but, yeah, it was cool seeing, Billy's mother, how crazy she was. But yeah, Scream 2 is a great sequel. There's tons of crazy people in it, Portia de Rossi's in it, and Sarah Michelle Gellar, and it's just really, it's very 90s, and I just like the college setting, and also I got to give big props. I love the theme they gave to Dewey, the music and the score. Dewey gets his own theme, which is awesome. And of course, one of the best parts of this franchise is the Dewey Gale relationship and how it develops through all the movies. And this one is like where it really starts to kick off. Like in the first movie, they obviously kissed or whatever, but like this one, man, I just love that. Scream 2 is a great movie. Like, it really is. I feel like people like to make fun of it, in certain parts. Um, but it is a great sequel. Like, it really is. And, I also think people don't like the fact that Randy got killed off. And I sort of never forgave the movie for that. I always was like, man, I wish they didn't kill Randy off. But, it took chances. It killed one of the survivors. So, yeah, I'm gonna give Scream 2. I want to give it an S, but like, I don't know if it's that good. It's still got its weird moments here and there. So I'll just give it an A, but it's a very high A if you ask me. Yeah, it's a great movie, honestly. Like, it really is. All right, so now Scream 3. And if you watched my review last night, I kind of talked about how I love Scream 3, which is kind of crazy for me to say, right? Like, if you guys are Scream fans, you're probably going, what? So, for those who don't know, Scream 3 wasn't written by Kevin Williamson, who wrote every single movie. He didn't write the newest one, obviously, but like Scream 1, 2, and 4 were all written by him, and he's pretty much the mastermind behind it. I mean, Wes Craven obviously brought it to life, but like, he is a great writer, and for whatever reason, I don't know, I've never known the reason why, he didn't do the third movie. And it shows. It shows. But I told this story last night in my review for Scream 5, where when I was very little, I watched. I was watching TV one night, and they were showing Scream 3 on TBS. Yeah, TBS. If you can believe it? And I was very young. Like, I should not have been watching it, but I decided to watch it. And if I'm remembering correctly, it was the first horror movie I ever saw, like in its entirety. And obviously it aired on TV, so the curse words were censored and stuff, but all the violence was kept in there. And that movie literally traumatized me. Like, I had nightmares. It was bad. And then of course, as I got older, I got into Chucky and Saw and all that stuff. So I eventually saw all the movies. But to me, Scream 3, like, being the first one I watched, I have this crazy nostalgia for it. And how it messed me up and everything. But I actually think it is a really great movie. Like, don't get me wrong, it certainly is weaker in the writing than the previous two, but like, it's really good. Like, it's sort of Scream Goes Hollywood, but like, they did a great job. Like, and all the people that are in it, like Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes have a cameo as Jay and Silent Bob, which is funny because of the connection. Miramax, Dimension, Weinstein. Those are all the same people making those movies. And then Patrick Warburton's in there, and they got the great opening with Cotton, which it's sad to see him die like that. Again, like, these movies all have great openings, which I love. But yeah, Scream 3, like, and then people also like to critique how they tried to tie it in with the original. Like, it doesn't really. I mean, it does make sense, I guess, but it's very convoluted and contrived, and that the killer is actually Sidney's half-brother, and they sort of just made that up. But it's an interesting, it is interesting, though. Like, I don't totally hate that. I always like the reveal, and like, this is the only one where it was just one killer, which is cool because, every movie it's like it's two killers, but this time it was just one guy. And then people also poke fun at the fact that, like, he supposedly died, and like, she checked his pulse, and she's like, oh my god, he's dead. Like, they didn't have to do that. Like, how was his pulse not, if he was alive, So yeah, it's just, this movie's got its issues, but like, I love this movie to death. Like, honestly, part of me wants to put it above Scream 2, but I know it's, the writing is like not as good. You got Patrick Dempsey in there, and Parker Posey, almost forgot to mention. She is incredible in this movie. Like, she's awesome. But yeah, it's a really good. It's like, they have those movies that once in a while they'll go Hollywood, like they did Chucky Goes Hollywood with Seed of Chucky. They had, I can't think of other ones, but like, there'll be times where movies go Hollywood and it somewhat doesn't work, but this really worked, if you ask me. Like, I thought it was great. The movie within the movie stuff, I don't know. Oh, Lance Henriksen, like, I'm starting to remember now. I did rewatch all these over the past few days to hype myself up for Scream 5. But yeah, like, I know what it is. A lot of people don't like this. I sort of don't like it either. It's the fact that they did the whole, the voice changer can replicate anybody's voice, which is sort of a cop-out. It's like, okay, that's such a, like, that's such an easy thing to do. Like you could like that makes the villain way too overpowered. But I think it works though because it is very terrifying. It's like you don't know who's actually on the phone. You know what I mean? But I do have to admit, yeah, it is like it's given the villain way too much power. Like it's way too much of a plot convenience. But yeah, I mean, Scream 3, I've always loved this movie. I love the Creed song, What If? You know, I know people like to make fun of Creed. But I love this movie. Like, it really is a big, big part of my horror. You know, horror is pretty much my favorite genre. And this is what really, like, you know, I've known of other things before it, but, like, watching Scream 3 for the first time, I'm never going to forget that. Similar to, like, I've told the story before. The first time I ever watched Army of Darkness, which also was the third movie, which, you know, and Evil Dead. I'm never going to forget that either. So it's one of those, you know. So I'm one of the rare people that I think, like, love Scream 3 this much. So I'm going to give Scream 3 an A, whereas in reality, it probably would be like a C or a D if you were really reviewing this movie, you know. But for me, it's an A. I don't know if I want to put it in front of Scream 2. Like, I feel like Scream 3 is definitely an easier watch for me. But I think I'll put Scream 2 above it. I think Scream 2, if I'm being real, it's a better movie. And like I said, I love Scream 2. Like, it's really enjoyable. Like, I can watch the first three anytime, any day. I love them that much. So yeah, I think I'll put it there. So anyways, I'm going to stop rambling about those. So Scream 4. Okay, Scream 4 is a mixed bag for me because yes, Kevin Williamson did a great job in this. The intro is great, everything. The characters are, for the most part, really good. But everybody knows this. The movie looks so weird. I don't know why they did this. Like, the movie has, like, a weird, like, filter over it. Like, some weird, like, wipe on the camera. Like, it just looks so weird. Like, somebody smudged Vaseline on the camera lens. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, the movie just looks weird. But the film itself is really good. Like, it really is like a nice return to form. And people were mad also back in 2011 that the movie played it a little bit too safe because it didn't kill any of the original three, you know, or anything like that. It didn't take too many chances. But I think the twist is what saves the movie because, you know, when I first saw it, I didn't see Emma Roberts being the killer. Like, I just didn't, you know, like, that surprised me because she's Sidney's cousin, right? So yeah, that was crazy reveal. And then you got Macaulay Culkin's brother in there playing the other killer, and you know everybody was pretty good. You know, everybody likes to point out how Hayden Panettiere was awesome as Kirby, and she was like she really was a great character. She's definitely probably the best part of this movie. You got Marley Shelton as Hicks, who was another great addition. And then, you know, Sidney and Dewey and Gale are all great in this. You know, they just, you know, I like too how they like really made Dewey like he became the sheriff. Like he took that next step. But yeah, the movie did kind of play things safe. You know, I will say that. But the twist was awesome. You know. But for me though, I have such nostalgia and fondness for the first three that I don't like this one as much. But it's still a great movie. I'm gonna put this one in B. Yeah, I'm just going to put it in B, you know. I think that's probably a good place to have it. So, yeah, it's funny. I'm actually kind of going 1, 2, 3, 4, literally. Okay. Now, going on to Scream 5, or just Scream, I should say. Like I said, I did a full movie review last night. So if you want to hear, like, my real thoughts and everything, watch the review. I'm going to keep it very simple here. It was good overall. The movie's incredibly meta. It's a little bit too meta for me, which was my biggest problem. Some of the meta lines didn't work. I think they're a little too over the top. But the guys that made this movie, you know, the guys that did great, Ready or Not, they did a fantastic job. Like you know, they did a great. This is a great movie. It's just I had a few issues, and I've only seen it once. Whereas the other four I've seen tons of times. So like, yeah. I'm just going to put this in B, behind Scream 4 for now. I feel like when I rewatch it more, I might like it more than Scream 4, but I don't know. I need to watch it more. But right now, as of this recording, it's going to be my least favorite Scream movie. Don't take that in the wrong way, though. Like, definitely check it out. It is a great movie, like I said. You might like it way more than I do. But yeah, I think I'm going to put it there. And plus, the rating I gave it was an 8 out of 10, so I guess... yeah, it has to be in the B section if it's an 8 out of 10. So, Yeah, I actually didn't know I was gonna put the movies in this order. That's funny. Like it's literally one, two, three, four, five. So, yeah. I was debating if I should put three in front of two, but I think I'm gonna put it behind two. Like, yeah. Yeah. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. So that's my Scream ranking, literally 1 to 5. Let me know your ranking in the comments. And what series or anything would you like to see me do a tier list for next? Because I like to do these once in a while. I think they're fun. So yeah, just give me some ideas. But yeah, that's about it. Let me know your thoughts on the new movie in the comments too. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and have a good one. Bye bye.